Greetings, it's Don Sly. It's the Ides of January 2025, at least for another 15 fucking minutes. I'm working on a painting right now. It's a Chinook salmon. I did the paint pour last week. I'm gonna do the outline in silver. When that dries, I'm gonna do the complementary outline color in teal. I used a real picture and drew this from the real picture, and now I will paint it. Se trata mamericatio seragario, do seragario, tondradio seragaro. Mamericatio sobrabriando the sergadio rendioros. Dadicatondriatio seragaro. Tesoriandioro. Dianda, the costoriandioro. Esirodo. Stoke and blade, I forgot my mittens. Wife babe knows, put my new boots on. Get a little warm in my heart when I think of winter. Give it my hand in my father's glove. We and both when our drifts get deeper. Sleeping beauty grips me with a frown. I hear her voice, we must begin to stand up for yourself. I can't always be the round. When you gonna make up your mind? When you gonna love you as much as I do? When you gonna make up your mind? 'Cause things are gonna change so fast. All the white horses still in bed tell you that I'll always want you near. Say that things change, my dear. Voice and kiss covered as winter melts, flowers competing for the sun. Years go by and I'm here still waiting, merely midst of mountains. Mirror, mirror, where's your crystal palace? But I always can see myself stealing around like who I am. But I know the ice is getting thin. Gonna make up your mind. When you gonna love you as much as I do? When you gonna make up your mind? 'Cause things are gonna change so fast. All the white horses still in bed that always want you near. Say that things change, my dear. Here's melting. Das drega papessia dradina, torcato strecariondo. Yantra dos regalado. Entra tiosoro babregandio. Passare dondra tioso. Turns out most everybody, if they were, you know, paid to be in a focus group to talk about one of their classmates, that they would prefer a hot body with a bad voice versus somebody chubby and old with a great voice. Looks matter a lot. Hot bodies matter a lot, apparently, too. So, I've had my days of hot body. I'd rather have a hot brain. My dear. As soon as I get to move back to the farm, I'll be in a lot better shape anyway. I like to do work outside. I like to grow weed. Been kept from doing that for 3 years now. Well, people take over my stuff and do my things, but nobody thinks that that's weed that I grew. But they're the kind of people that don't care about anything at all, or they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Just assholes. And now they're starting to need to pay people back for stuff because they said that they could produce something they couldn't. Oh, it feels very bad for them. Hopefully they have a car to live in. All my troubles seem so far away. Suddenly, life never do sondriato over me. Andrio sondrio. Why she had to go, I don't know, she wouldn't say. I said something wrong, now I'm wrong for yesterday. Oh, that's such an easy game to play. I'm the Antrotosiondo. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Why she had to go, I don't know, she wouldn't say. I said something wrong, now I long for yesterday. It was such an easy game to play. Andreato di Andoro. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Essere un dragadio sorando. The deep voice. I cut out early of the deep voice contest in my choir, the tenor bass choir, because I kind of am shy about it. And the more that I sing deep as a woman, the more that people give me attention like I'm a man. And I don't need that. I don't need energy to the tuchus sent to me at all. I don't think most people do, but I mean, some guys like that kind of energy, and I suppose there's one or two women that do as well, but it's the last thing I want, and it's all the energy that I'm getting. And it's very just grating. It takes a lot of energy to block it, and it frustrates me because the people that are fixated on it are very immature, or they're in denial. They're either very immature or they're in denial. And they just need to find themselves a consensual partner. Leave me the fuck out of it. Old lesbian. I'm an old lesbian that nobody really is into. So, Diandratos Regado. I can't help but mention sometimes my age because it gives relevancy to the context to what I'm talking about. Listened to Thriller today in my mixing and mastering class. I remember when that came out. I mean, I remember how exciting it was, and I was young. I mean, I would have been like 12, 11 or 12. And I remember it being on MTV, and I was young enough that video was kind of a little bit scary, but not horribly scary. And it was fresh and exciting. And now I listen to it, it still sounds good, but I also listen to it because I know I'm sitting in the room with 20-year-olds. I also listen to it through their ears, and it was interesting. But it also makes me feel old, but I feel good in the way that knowing a bunch about music helps as I do music production in the future. A lot of times things come back to how they were, even if there really is a lot of progress and a lot of evolution and things. Stuff will happen, sooner or later the 80s will be popular, and I'll know how to do my hair for it. I've not been feeling very well, and I haven't had very kind words at me, so it's hard, when you have physical ailments that kind of compound it. They could be made a lot worse when people are assholes to you. And I would say just the lack of being friendly sometimes can count as assholery. But I don't really need a bunch of attention. I just get through. I'm focused on homework now. I like to do fun things. Tomorrow there is a viewing of Wicked with my choir people and a cookie decorating party, and the pajamas are optional. I don't really think I'm gonna go. Although I would like to see... I haven't seen Wicked yet. I'm probably gonna go play saxophone. If I'm feeling up for it, if my hand is feeling well enough, I'm gonna go play blues at Old World Deli tomorrow night. Because I did a couple weeks ago, and I liked it. It went well. I hadn't been there for a while. There's really good blues players there. I'm in a video game composition class. I did one of my assignments I did on totally drawing a blank on it now. It wasn't my favorite video game, but it's my daughter's. I know it's one of her favorite video games. Something Hollow. Can't think of it right now. Just absolute blank. At least I haven't seen her for a little bit, but I was told that she really liked that. And so I did to check it out. I used it for my video. I haven't got to play it yet. I don't have a Nintendo right now. I'm hoping to get a Switch soon. I know the latest Nintendo is coming out soon, and they're leaking all sorts of information about it right now. Mostly it sounds like It's gonna cost more money than what I'll be able to afford to get one of those right away. So I'll probably. I don't have a Switch yet. I have an Xbox. I have an Xbox One. I don't have the latest one, the XS or whatever. But I do want to get a Switch at some point. I have it on my list, but I have a lot of things on my list, and most of them are things I don't actually need. There's things like I kind of would like. I don't play a lot of time video games. My hands always hurt, and video games don't go well if your hands hurt. But I'd rather save it for saxophone playing if that's an option. But video games are good. Right now I'm into Fortnite, and I'm into Overwatch too. I don't know why, because the esports team, that's one of the games they play here at Oregon State. But, occasionally I've played in their in-house games, but I haven't made a team that I know of, and I don't know that I would. I only really know the one character really well. I play Orisa, just tank. I can play other tank. I can play Reinhardt a little bit. I can play a couple of them, and I can play Lucio and a little bit of Mercy, but I'm not very good. It's not my strength. I like playing Orisa, but I don't play very often. It's a really hard game to get into. I started a couple of years ago, and people are just they've been playing that game for a long time. And there's not much new. I mean, there's updates and stuff, but they're not very friendly about introducing newbies to the game usually. So it's fast, and there's some strategy, but most all the time I'm dumped in with random people. Just like when I play Fortnite, I almost would always rather play solo than play with a team, because the teams are they aren't anybody I know. They're just random people. So, if they all want to go jump onto the place that everybody else is jumping onto and get annihilated because we don't know each other and we don't have a plan for anything and nobody's talking to each other, it loses you ranking points, and it's not my style of gameplay. Is kind of like, I don't need to land remotely, but I like to land somewhere outside of a little town and get some loot, get some weapons, get some gear before I head into one of the places, kind of. But I'm not very good at shooting. I can do okay from afar. I haven't seen any sniper weapons in the latest whatever. But so usually I run away. That's my strategy. I avoid people, and then if they come after me, I try to get away. But I can shoot. I've been known to get people. I really like the sword that's happening in the latest version, the latest update. So one of the games that I really like that's not around anymore that I think should be an update is, it was a shooting game, and it was an arcade game, and there was a pink gun and a blue gun, a baby blue gun and a pink gun, and it was called Time Cop. And I actually had a great expense at the time. um, purchased. Let's see that I purchased for Sega Genesis, one of the consoles that I owned growing up, the pink and the baby blue gun and the Game Time Cop. And the last time I played it, it still worked. And it, aside for like the shooting technology, like the infrared thing that it uses is the same thing that they used for Duck Hunt. No, it's different. That was NES. Sega is a little bit different. It actually was not so bad. You'd reload off screen, and shoot the bad guys and not shoot the good guys. It's a pretty decent game. I think they should update that. Oh, I also really liked Paperboy. It had bike handlebars on there, and you'd push a button and throw the paper, try to get it into the paper boxes. There were hazards and things you could do to get extra points. I missed this one's pot right here is a little bit rough. There's good money in being mean to me right now. There's a lot of people that hate me. Between people that think that I had something to do with the Ducks losing the football game. If I were almighty powerful that way, I don't really think they think that, but I have some friends who live and die by the Ducks, and I'm a Beaver, and I sat over here by myself watching the game at the Rose Bowl when that was on, and I cheered for Ohio State. I will admit I cheered for Ohio State. I used to have one Duck shirt. I don't know that I have it anymore. It's green with a big yellow thing because on occasion I used to go to their basketball games when I lived down there. I like their softball team too, and their women's basketball team. I used to go to the men's basketball team games because my family had season tickets. My dad used to work for Hamilton Construction. When he used to work there, that used to be part of one of the perks that he would get would be those season tickets, because the company had them. I don't know that happens anymore. We also used to go visit a house in Sun River and then later in Caldera Springs. But I haven't been there in a really long time. Love to go there. I'm estranged, technically, from my family. I try to text my dad a lot. He's actually my stepdad, but he's been my dad since I was 3. He adopted me, so I consider him my dad. And I text him a lot, and sometimes I email him, and I don't hear back. So I hope he's okay. I hope my daughter's okay. I hope they just have a mix-up, like they're trying to get a hold of me on an old phone number. There was a time spell when I had at one time a prepaid cell phone, and I had a couple of lines that I couldn't afford. I had to get a prepaid one, and once you lose your phone number, people start using it for things, and it's been fucked up. I've had a lot of money stolen from me. I've been kept from my property. They gave a bunch of my things to other people, saying that I just fled because cops came and chased me away. And now some of those very same cops sit around like fat turds eating things that can't come for me, if they can't find me, then it's okay to eat that humongous pack of Milky Way Special Darks, all that jerky and take those Omaha steaks. Like there's actually no guilt involved if you can't find me. I did send my a while ago, for some reason I felt this would be useful in the future. A while ago I sent a link to my Google location to Rachel Maddow. I told her that at some point I'd be listed as missing, and the police wouldn't be able to find me, but they'd be taking donations for me and using them, like I'm giving them to them because they can't find me. They're not going to be able to find me, but she'll know. She will know where I'm at because she has a link to it. The police here aren't very smart, or they're really corrupt, or both. They're probably more accurate. They lend their uniforms out freely to people of notable importance, actors, politicians, sports stars, whoever needs to look like they're busting into a house. It's their fantasy to come in on a co-ed. A 54-year-old woman in her college domicile, just waiting for them. Good Lord. It's one of the scariest fantasies ever. I did pin a lesbian pin to my rainbow flag on my front door. Usually people think it has something to do with being transgendered, but it's just a good old-fashioned lesbian. It's like shades of pink stripes. Like a white stripe in there. It's just plain lesbian. I think Playboy knows, because they emailed me today. I've never had a subscription. But they're apparently launching some sort of media hub. And they really would like me to be involved with my brand. I don't know exactly what brand that would be. I mean, since 2017, I've been live streaming. Times better than others. And I can say I've had several personas. I don't know if any of them would count as something you'd want to brand. What did I have? I've had Sparkle Baby and Uber Dyke and Weed Jesus, and I think Weed Jesus is on a pear candle somewhere. It's me with a joint in my mouth, and Obama Girl, and what else have I called myself? Side Keys. I'm Side Keys Sly. Disco Legs. I was Neely for a couple of months when I first joined the Meister Singers, because that was the jacket that they had that I got until my jacket came. And somebody else will be Neely. I mean, it's inevitable. When there's a jacket there that somebody either didn't claim or they had to turn back in, it's going to be reused until your jacket comes in. So there's probably another Neely. Diadrantos tragaron de oro para ser, 'Diadrantos tragaron de oro para ser, 'Diadrantos. Diadrantos tragaron de oro para ser, 'Diadrantos. Diadrantos tragaron de oro para ser, 'Diadrantos. Diadrantos. 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 Di Chinook salmon is endangered. It's around here. I have the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians in mind when I do this, actually. That's the tribe that I've worked the most with. I've also worked a little bit with the Grand Ronde. But when I lived in Newport, over at the coast, I mostly worked with the Siletz. Sometimes I got to go do home visits and go work with tribal members, and it was pretty cool. Sometimes I see those kids grown up, and it's cool. Sometimes they don't recognize me, sometimes I don't recognize them. One of these days, maybe they'll come to me and we'll have a little band. I've worked with a whole bunch of kids, from Head Start kids to preschoolers to grade school kids to all sorts of different age of kids. I was a therapist for like 23 years or something like that. Before I went on medical, I had a break for medical leave, as I had experienced some stuff, and my partner at the time she had early onset dementia, and I had a really hard time with that, and I was accused of stealing, and I had to move with my parents, and they kicked me out because I'm a medical marijuana patient. They just never have understood that. And I felt from like the time that when I started living in my car, I got kicked out in 2017. That was when my license in clinical social work went on lapse. It didn't make any sense to pay all that money to keep a license and to have liability insurance and all that when you live in your car. Like, I did some trainings, but I did my last training, I think, in March of 2017. I had some bad stuff happen to me. I don't really want to go into details now, but it took a while to get on disability, and I had to go through some things. It's been really shitty. I've been usually treated really well. Like, I've usually had friends, like most of them talk behind my back, like they'd act nice to my face, and I'm part African American, but nobody wants to talk about it, and sometimes it's obvious that I am. I've been raised white, so it's like, if my daughter were suddenly to come into foster care and they saw that she was listed as African American and Native American, and they decided that she needed to be placed with a black family, I probably would be a little bit weird for her. It'd be weird for me, because, like I said, I was raised white. Like, I'm comfortable with black people to the extent of, like, my sister had a black friend, like, a whole family moved to Cresswell. We had one black kid that was adopted, like, that was the year older than me. But Cresswell's a little tiny town in Oregon, just south of Eugene. And when I was there, it was like, there was like 1,500 people. There's like 5,500 people there now. But I got shushed when I brought up that I had a black dad, not just because that was something you didn't talk about around my stepdad, but you didn't want to be black, because people said the N-word and they called me bad names and stuff like that. So, when I played basketball, people could tell when I sang, when I played saxophone. And I've experienced discrimination for being a lesbian. I've experienced discrimination for being a woman. I've experienced discrimination for speaking different languages, and for being Native American, for being African American. I don't have a tribal affiliation that I know of, but I believe that my daughter did get accepted. I hope she did. And if she is, then I will be. And I wish that I could be treated that way, because I know I could have some different rights. I don't do anything really bad. I'm a medical marijuana patient. I microdose psilocybin. That's what I do. I've experienced really bad trauma. I've helped a lot of people with theirs. I thought I knew what I was doing. I know a lot more now. I don't really know that I could help people directly. I could consult and I could train. And I could make music with people. I'm working on a thesis for next term. I'm very close to finishing school. Like, I could finish next term if all the classes fall into place, but I'm taking basically what I need. So I think it will wrap up my minor in music performance. Also, I have a Bachelor of Science in music technology and production that I'm working on right now. It's post-baccalaureate, which means that all the core classes, the basic classes, I've already taken. And I have a degree in psychology, a BS in psychology from 1992 at Oregon State. I also have a master's of social work from 1996 from Boise State University. And all those things count towards things. Like, I don't have to take social sciences because I have a fucking master's in social work. But I'm happy to if I have to. A little part of me wants to work some on art, and I've also asked for a review because I believe I'm very close to a degree in science, whether it's biology or general science or something like that. I don't know that I actually need that, but something about it calls to me. A little bit interested in music education, but I also don't really see myself being a music teacher, so I don't know. I'm on the back half of life. It really fucking sucks, but it's where I am, and I'm gonna make the best of it. For now, my short-term goal is to not be alone all the time. That's the hardest part, is always being alone, especially when people die. This part of me thinks maybe they aren't really dead and they're all just having a party without me, and they've maybe have felt that that's not the best way to go. Being left out because you smell like weed, it sucks. I've been discriminated for that too. I've known people that smell of much worse things. Like perfume of a hooker. Bad perfume can really do it for me. But mostly any perfume. I don't really like scent perfume and colognes very much. I like it if it's close enough for me to like smell it if I'm in your personal space. But, you know, that's not the rule of thumb for most people. For some people. It's a Chinook Salmon. I used this pen to draw it. I put isolation coat, and so that I could use a wet rag and maybe a little bit of alcohol to get some of that off of there. I just ended up going over it. I can see some of it underneath there, but I'll let this dry and then I'll wipe it off. And then I'm going to mix up something that's kind of like this color. Maybe a little bit more blue. And I'll be using that as an accent color. I made another one last night. Last night I felt like sketching. And I just did a bunch of these and sealed them. So that's what's happening. I don't know that I'll paint this one tonight. It's kind of in a weird mood. I don't want to subject other people to stuff I'm not feeling actually that great. If I don't have things fully together. I need to work a little bit more for Uber, but I haven't been. I have been having a stomach thing, so I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be subjecting people to that. It was mostly over the weekend. Something happened. I went, actually got in the car. I had a ticket to go to the gymnastics meet, the opener here at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis, and I pulled up in my car, and I don't know what the hell, like, I really don't remember what happened, but I was, like, kind of just sitting in there, and it was like I lost time, and I just kind of, like, didn't get out of the car. I just came to, and I don't know exactly what happened, but I didn't want to get out of I didn't want to go, and came home, and I was barfing. I felt like somebody broke my arm, and I was barfing, and I don't know how it happened, but it was violent. It was violent, and I was that way for a couple hours, and I slept for a while, and then I slept for a day or so. That was Saturday. So I just haven't been feeling 100%. I've gone to class, and now I feel bad. I hope I haven't given anybody any of that stuff, but I kind of feel like it was stress-induced, but I can't remember what caused it, so I don't know if... I've had some problems with some people jumping me and beating me up. I've been getting hit in the face, so I don't know exactly what the deal is. Sometimes I've woken up with my eye swollen shut and shit, but part of my condition, like, the more stressed I get, I go into a deeper part of myself where, like, whatever happens, either I go away or I take it on, and those parts of me don't want the main part of me to be bothered by it. So sometimes they do different things. Sometimes the different parts of me work together, sometimes not so much, but I've just been trying to, like, keep things together. I've started, this is the second week of a new term. I'm really comfortable at school now, but I also I'm alone a lot, and I've been estranged from family, and I feel like stagnant. I feel very stagnant. I feel like there's a bunch of things that I can do, and I don't know if I'm being, like, kept so people can just take the things that I'm doing. For some reason, people have thought that I was gonna be dying. I don't know if there's a terminal illness on my medical record, or if... I don't know what the hell's going on. But I don't have a terminal illness. I'm not going anywhere. I don't want my songs sent to somebody so they could slap their guitar on it and say we collaborated. Like, I don't need this cast of Saturday Night Live redoing the chorus on one of my songs and adding their... I don't need those kinds of special things unless it's above board. I've had some situations where I've been with some very famous people, but they never say that they're famous, and I don't want to make a big stink because maybe they're just trying to be really not detectable, and I don't want to hurt, I don't want to draw attention if that's just what they're doing. Because I feel that way most of the time, and I'm not even fucking famous. Like, I don't really need extra attention unless... I used to really like attention when I played sports. And I like attention when I play instruments. I do. I used to be horrified, actually. In high school, I was very good, but... The saying sweating bullets, like, I used to just sweat. I used to shake, and I would like freeze. When I got really stressed, I would freeze, and I have had to work really, really hard to get through that to be able to perform. And if there were other people with me, it was fine, but I remember once, my senior year, I had a solo. We did I'm old enough that we did a medley of Rocky.
songs from the movies Rocky. You know, there's like a shitload of them. And there's one song, which I can't remember the name of it, but everybody's like, the whole band's playing, and then all of a sudden it cuts to nothing. And I stood up and I played the song. I think I was wearing some high heels too, in a dress for some reason, because I had the solo. I felt, rarely happens, but it did then. And I I did a really good job. By then I thought earlier today I said 84, but it might have been 86 that I got my new saxophone. It might have been 85. I had a Selmer Mark 7. It was used at the time, but it was a very good for jazz, what I needed back then. And I I did a really good job, but it was like, I was shaking. I was really, really freaked out. And now, like, I could do that. I could stand up and I could do that to a stadium, and I would be fine with it. I I like playing my saxophone a lot, and I don't have performance anxiety with that. I do have performance anxiety with solo singing. It's not, I don't really seem to have it now. I've gotten more acclimated to singing. This is my second year. I've been singing for 2 years now at Oregon State University. The first was at University Chorale, and now I'm singing with the Meister Singers, which is a tenor bass choir. And I sing tenor too, and I really like it. It's really helped with my performance stuff, and I'm getting more comfortable on stage. But like, as far as just coming out and singing a solo, like, that's a goal of mine. I did perform at, we had a show called Diffusions, and I sang on stage and I played my saxophone. It was the first time I've ever sang on stage. I've sang on stage, like, backup singing, because I'm playing saxophone and I just, like, lift the microphone up to sing back up. But I haven't intentfully gone out to sing. It's usually at bars, it's usually at jams. I do have a couple of songs that I've done, like, I had vocal lessons. I'm not very good with lyrics. If I have a tablet, if I have the lyrics, like, I can totally do that. But I'm not very comfortable, and even if it's something I wrote myself, like, that's almost even worse, because I just don't, that's not a thing that I'm very good at. I don't know if it's the damage that I've had to my head, or if it's like the stress thing that I have or whatever, but if I have the words handy, it's a lot easier for me. Whatever's happened to me, I don't know, again, if it's stress, trauma stuff, or when I was little, I lived in Sicily. I lived in Hawaii as a toddler, and an infant and toddler, and I lived in Oregon. My parents met. My mom had been divorced early when I was like 8 months. It was really stressful. We went from Florida to Hawaii, where her family was living and doing work as like roofing work. And so I learned a bunch of Asian languages and Hawaiian languages, and then we moved to Creswell briefly, and they got together, and my dad was graduating from Oregon State University in 1973, and he was in the ROTC, and so we went for 4 years. He was in the Navy, and we lived in Sicily for 2 of those years and traveled a whole bunch of places. We went to Germany and Netherlands, and those are the 2 places that really stand out. Like, I totally remember going to those places. We visited a lot of carousels. I love merry-go-rounds. They had some double-decker ones there. It's really awesome. And I've been back to Europe, but it's been since like high school. It was like 1987. It's like when I got my Beastie Boys CD. It was a really long time. I can't remember if it was a CD or a cassette. We listened to No Sleep Till Brooklyn in the class last week, and I remember a lot of details, but I cannot for the life of me remember if it was a cassette or I can't remember, because like sometimes I had the cassettes, but then I ended up getting the CDs after there were CDs. So I had both the cassette and the CD. I'm pretty sure it was a CD because it was 1987 by then. Um, we had Sony Walkmans and they were big, and the headphones really sucked. But I remember listening to that Licensed to Ill, like taxiing on the plane. There was actually a layover on an international flight, and I was really happy because I had that and it was new, and I used to save up my money and get like the latest things, the latest music that came out. Usually it was Madonna. Like I haven't followed her as closely, but like starting with the very early stuff, the very early stuff. So what was it? I mean, I remember distinctly going to Eugene Music down by Fifth Street to get True Blue, but I had all of them before that, like the one with Borderline and Celebration, and then the one with Like a Virgin and all that. I think it was called Like a Virgin. I had them all. I also really liked Duran Duran. I made sure to get all of their stuff too. But I'm gonna totally forget what the hell I was talking about. I've been around. I've heard a lot of music. I've been through a lot of eras. It's good, but it also makes me feel old. I'm tired of waiting to be discovered. I've been discovered as a social worker, but I don't do that anymore. I don't necessarily want to do that. I don't know that I need to be discovered as anything. I just like to be comfortable, and I'd like to not be alone all the time. I'd like to have access to family and friends. And I need at least one girlfriend. I used to joke that I was taking applications for girlfriends when I was in my live streaming phase. I also felt that there needed to be auditions for a live production of SpongeBob. For some reason I felt that Eugene, has a lot of people that could be Squidward. Like, I think Squidward... I just feel that people dressing up as Squidward and going to try out at Sly Farms, at least a few years ago, I was really emphatic about it, that I felt that maybe my family didn't want me, but maybe if one Squidward touched their heart and, talk to them about me and how well I'm doing, maybe the Squidwards could touch them into remembering who I am. Not so bad. And if they don't want me to come down there, maybe they should move up here. Finally getting used to it. I lived here. I went to school here. And I lived here for 2 years. I worked at Children's Farm Home. So before I went back to graduate school, that was like 88 to 94. When I lived in Corvallis, so I'm familiar with it. I've had a very good experience here. I've had some good time, like some neighbors that I've gotten to be in connection with. I used to have a dog, and I walked around the neighborhood a lot because she was old, and she had to go pee and poop, and that's what I did, is why I walked. Now I walk to get my car charged, because it's a plug-in hybrid, a Chevy Volt, and it does best when you keep a charge on the battery. So that's all I have to say now. I'm probably getting close to an hour. It shuts off after an hour. I use that same pencil. I'm not really very down with how the hind leg is on this, and I might redesign it a little bit before I paint it. So I just did it without looking. I didn't look at a picture of a dinosaur or a dragon, but this is what I drew last night. I think the tail, I tried to get the tail to just, put these green accents and these, black and silver to leave it there to look kind of like a pattern like it would on a dinosaur. And the wings, I saw the wings first because those just look like wings to me. Maybe they're kind of butterfly-like dinosaur wings. Maybe not attached the best way. I'm not a fucking engineer. Nor a, natural biologist, natural, whatever they call them. But I had fun with it. I didn't look at anything. I just did it. I might redesign, like, what's going on here. It just looks a little bit weird. But it's also just fucking fantasy drawing, too. I had fun with the head. I see the eyes in there. I gave it cat bat ears. They're not horns, they're just ears. I think that that's probably the adaptation that they would have if they were such creatures. Kind of try to make it a dinosaur dragon. I have not pulled out the new harmonicas because I'm certain that they're going to be gifted to somebody who needs a harmonica or two or a set. That's what I think. I did a bunch of homework today for my video game class. Here's some Verocifica lemurs I'm doing for the tiny art show. Their eyes aren't finished yet. Their eyes are gonna have some black dots on them. And I'd probably go back a little bit in gold. I did this really light, kind of like a periwinkle lavender. And I'll probably just go one more time through in gold to make sure it's nice and solid. The background's not very... There's not a lot going on with it. I kept it kind of simple. They're known for being in trees. They're from Madagascar. And so I thought this kind of represented what their terrain would be like. Usually I put a lot more colors on these things, so just kind of try to keep it, the focal point being these things. The picture tells a story is what the theme was, and it's for, there's going to be a dance show at the Majestic Theater in Corvallis on a 4x4 foot stage, a tiny stage. And they're gonna have a tiny art show with like 100 of these put together into a big thing. And then after, they're gonna sell these tiny things. I think that's a cool idea. I'm gonna go for now. Yeah, I haven't worked on the blues song. I've been kind of stagnant with music. I actually have the song I did for Diffusions. Back in the mix. I really want to work on it, but it's like, I think that I need to rework at least one verse. I like, the song got to be 6 minutes long and I started to freak out. Like, I did not think that the song needed to be some sort of Pink Floyd 8-minute, 9-minute, whatever. And so I started just kind of like taking some stuff out, and so I've been kind of avoiding it because I really think I need to take a really good look at the lyrics. There's at least one lyric that when I sang it live, like, it wasn't very clear, and it wasn't like, sometimes I just fully left it out, and I think it's because I don't think it's really going to be what the line is. Like, it doesn't feel fully like it fits for me, and I haven't come up with what it is yet. But I don't think it's 100% like the way that I want it that way. I have my friend Andrew who played guitar on it live. I have some recording of him that I'm going to blend in, and I'm going to redo some of the vocals, and I need to mix it and stuff, but I will. I like doing that stuff, but like the things in that song really happened to me, and so it's kind of taxing emotionally. It's a way to deal with it, but it's also hard. I have 9 seconds remaining. I just have to say bye. Maybe I'll do another one tonight, I don't know. night.